Hello. So in the first tutorial, what we basically did, we created an outline of a rig. We set up a length parameter and we set some side offset values for these points that are hosted on these points that's hosted on the reference plane that's actually being placed in between these 2 points. So I also saved this family and I called it greenhouse. The next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to create a profile that we're going to actually take into this family environment, the greenhouse family environment, and we're going to place on these different points. So I'm going to go to the Revit button, New, and Conceptual Masking. And here we are. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to place a point at the intersection here. So I go to Floor Plan View, Point Tool, and I hover over here, and here's the intersection, so I place it on there. Go back into 3D view, and I'm going to place 3 points, one on this side of this point, one over here, and one above. So point tool, set, click on the point, and I activate it and get this warning again. Let's drag this out, and I'm going to give this a parameter. I'm going to call it P width. I'm going to make this one an instance parameter. So P width, point again, set. So place a new point over there, and this one I'm going to drag over on this side. I'm going to call this P neg. I'm going to make this one obviously the instance parameter as well. And I'm going to place one that actually is placed above this existing point. So I give this one a value, or a parameter. I'm going to call this P height, and that's an instance parameter as well. So I have 3 different parameters here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to tell this parameter that this one is going to be just as far from this point as this point is from this point. So I go into my parameter values here. I can make the window a little bit bigger. And then I say that this P neg button is going to be the same value as the P width, but negative, so it's going to be minus value. So I copy this value here. I say minus parenthesis, and I end my parenthesis. That basically means that I said that you're going to be the same value. This value is going to be the same value as this one, but the negative one. So if I change this value to 12 meters, it's going to jump in a bit. I can also flex this parameter here just to make sure that everything's working according to the way I want it to. I can also change this one, so it's going to be minus 14. And that basically means that these 2 parameters, they're bidirectional. So if I change one, I can change them both instances. So here's my profile, and then use the spline to points tool. Click on the first here, second, third. I go through this one more time. There we go. So here's my profile, and I'm going to save this one. Save as family. And I'm going to say this is call it profile or profile. So here's my profile. I'm going to load this one into my greenhouse project. And this one comes in all wonky. It doesn't really know in what direction it wants to be at yet. So I'm going to set the work plane here. So you're going to be the work plane. Hover over here and use space to flip it. There we go. Set the work plane again. Space to flip it. So what I've done here is I have placed 4 different profiles on this point here, and this point that's here is actually hosted on this one. So again, if I take this one and I move it along, you can see that the profiles, they update their location. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be telling these points that are placed here that they are actually going to be placed at the beginning of this line, at the end of this line, and then on equal distances from the other two. So I click on the first point here, and you can see here that I have a value going from 0, and this one has a slightly higher value. What I can do now is I can tell this point here that's going to be placed at 0 value, and that basically means that I'm placing it at the beginning of this line. There we go. You can see that the profile updates. I place the last one at 1. There we go. And I'm going to save this read here, and I'm going to let you guys catch up.